All right, picture this. You were flying above in the air with your feet above your head right before you land flat on your back. Hi, my name is Kyler Bills, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to hip toss. A little bit of background about this is the hip toss in folk style wrestling is a move that I've been doing. I started wrestling folk style wise at the age of 6. And from the young age, I've always been a thrower. That's what bigger guys tend to do, is they tend to throw their opponents. And I wrestled in middle school, high school, and college, and I've also hit these moves in all 3 levels of wrestling. So I'm going to start with the first step, and I have a video aid to help me. So what you want to do in the first step is with your dominant hand, which my dominant hand is my right hand. What you want to do is you want to grab an underhook on your opponent, and I'll show the video here. You're going to grab an underhook on your opponent with your dominant hand, and an overhook on your opponent with your non-dominant hand, if it'll load. And I kind of go over it a couple times just to kind of get the consensus of it. And essentially what the over and underhooks do, this move is a lot about leverage. So when you have your over and your underhook, you're able to control your opponent and you keep it tight and you don't give your opponent much breathing room to move and do things of that nature. So that's the first step, is getting your over and underhook, and usually you hand fight into it, but that's a whole different aspect of it. And then the second step is much simpler. What you want to do is, once you have your over and your underhook, I have to play it. You have to push into your opponent and use your aggression to get them to push back. This move is a lot about momentum and, like I said, leverage. So in wrestling, when one person is being the aggressor over the other, and say the opponent is just backing up while letting you push them back, then they're going to get a stall call. And what a stall call is the first call you get a warning. The second time you get called for stalling, you get a point for the opponent who's aggressive. So what your opponent is going to want to do when you push into them is push back. And that is going to allow you to grab that momentum from your opponent and use it to help you in the throw. So the third step is, what you want to do when you have your over and your underhook and they start pushing back is you're going to use your leg, and for me it's my right leg, it's my dominant leg, and you want to step over their legs. And this move isn't necessarily about power or strength, it's more of a finesse move. You're not throwing this person, I mean it is a throw, but you're not just lifting them up and dropping them. You're using that leg as an anchor point to kind of drive your opponent over that leg. However, this is a high risk, high reward move. So when you're putting your leg there, and you can possibly get yourself out of position. So what you want to do is you want to keep your hips solid. If there's 4 things in this move that I would explain that are the most important, it's leverage, hips, momentum, and just staying solid altogether. Because if you don't, and I've seen it done many times, if you don't stay solid throughout the move, someone can very easily, you can lose your footing, or someone can very easily drive you back and end the match for you. So it's a high risk, high reward move, and you really just have to stay in solid position from the moment you attempt the move to the moment you finish the move. So step 4 is actually performing the hip toss. So when you step through the legs, what you want to do is you want to turn your hips very hard. And for the sake of the video, I didn't throw it, I wanted to throw it in a safe manner. So what you want to do is use your over and your underhook as a form of leverage, as I said, and to drive your opponent over that leg. You aren't necessarily lifting them and throwing them over your leg, but like I said, you use that leg as an anchor point to throw your opponent over. And like I said, with the over and the underhook, you want to use these in an upward manner. Like I said, you're not necessarily picking them up, but you are raising them and taking them over your leg. So like I said, overall, the most important part of this move, and I'm going to show you, this is the move altogether, and then I'm going to elaborate on the final step after this. But the overall most important part of this move is your hips. If you don't have solid hips, and if you give your opponent room to breathe, then you could very easily get rolled through, or you could not get your takedown and you could scramble into a scramble situation, and it would just complicate the whole process. So what you want to do to properly cover your opponent, it all stems back with the over and the underhook. So I didn't show it in the video, but what you want to do after you hit the move, and I'll pause it right where it is So you step through, throw the hip, and then right there, what you want to do is you want to use your over and your underhook to leverage your opponent and use your weight, use your momentum, use your strength and your power over your opponent, and like I said, your leverage to keep their back exposed. So, like I said, it can range from anywhere from a 2-point takedown to a pinfall and ending the match. Also in there, there's a 2-point near fall if their back is exposed 90 degrees to the mat. That's a 2-point, and if their back is exposed, it is 4 points. In high school, it's a little different. If their back is exposed 90 degrees for 2 seconds, it's 2 points. If their back is exposed for 5 seconds, it's 3 points. So if you aren't looking to pin somebody, you want to make sure that you can keep them leveraged and get your back points and then safely cover them. So overall, it's really a slick maneuver. You might be asking yourself, okay, if I don't wrestle, when am I ever going to use this? And I understand that. I do know I have a cousin who teaches self-defense, and I'm not saying if somebody's trying to rob you that you go and try to hip toss them, but it really can be used to restrain somebody or used in a lot of other self-defense tactics. And I've seen it done many times, some good, some bad. I've seen it done great, I've seen it done poor. People use it on the Olympic level. And it really is, if you can perfect it, like I said, it's high risk, high reward, but if you can perfect it, it really can help you in your self-defense, or if you're a wrestler like me, it can really end a match and you can go a great distance with it. So I hope my speech helped you kind of understand that. Like I said, I understand that a lot of you guys may not be wrestlers, but from a self-defense standpoint, I think it can really be pretty beneficial. Is there any questions? Thank you.